Hey, what's going on, YouTubers? Texas Triple Tapper here, bringing you guys another review on the Vortex Razor HD Gen 2. See if I can't zoom in a tiny bit here. I have it atop of my 6.5 Creedmoor Ruger Precision. I did a review on this and had the scope on it, and I mentioned I'd come back and do a review on the scope. Well, here I am, bringing you guys the scope. So I've had this scope for, I don't know, a few weeks now. I've taken it out to the range and kind of put it through some paces. I haven't put a whole ton of rounds through it. It was just kind of getting it zeroed in and kind of getting a feel for it, as well as the 6.5 Creedmoor. A quick disclaimer, I am relatively new to shooting through scopes. I can literally count on one hand the number of times I've actually done it, and by that I mean, you know, going to the range and actually doing it. So it is a really new concept for me, but I've wanted to get into long range and precision shooting, and so I've been just kind of slowly but surely kind of gearing up for that. No pun intended with the gear. And so far, I mean, I could not be happier with this setup I got here. But again, I've already extolled the virtues of my 6.5 Creedmoor, so I really want to dive into the scope itself. I want to talk real quick about just some of the specs on it. Look at my handy dandy cheat sheet here on my computer. This is the, as I said, the Vortex Razor HD Gen 2. This is an MOA scope. They make it in a Milrad, but I chose to go with the MOA just because it was the one I was a little more familiar with. The zoom is 4.5 to 27 by 56. So this tube here has a 56 millimeter diameter here for the objective lens. The tube itself has a 34 millimeter diameter. The eye relief is 3.7 inches, so not too terrible. I've got mine set up just perfect for me. Each click is a quarter MOA. It's got these L-Tech turrets, and we'll kind of dive more into that and talk about it a little bit whenever we'll do a close-up and actually look at the scope. The overall length is 14.4 inches. It's a little longer than that because I have the Sunshade screwed in here, so this much, I don't know if you can see that, this much of the, I'll actually take it off and show you, but this much here will come off. So it weighs in at 48.5 ounces, so definitely not a light scope. On this setup here, I think it comes in just over 13 pounds, just under 14 pounds. So I'm looking at some options that I could, you know, knock off a pound or so. I'm thinking about getting maybe a lighter barrel and maybe shortening it a little bit. But anyway, again, this is more about the scope. So it is a first focal plane scope. It does have a zero stop, which we'll kind of look at. It's got some really neat features. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and get adjusted, and we'll do a quick close-up. All right, guys. So now we have a little bit more of a close-up here, and we're going to just point out a couple of features on the scope. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more on the turrets here. As you can see, as I said, these are MOA. Each click is a quarter MOA. This knob right here is the parallax. It goes from 32 yards on out to infinity, and you can just dial it on up and see that's 500 yards, and then it goes out as far as you need it to. This is really cool. This right here is the reticle illuminator. So it pops out. I'm going to try to zoom in a tiny bit more. See how the hash mark is on that little dot, and then above it there's 7, and then we got the dot, 6, 5, and on down. Each dot in the middle is kind of an off position. So if you shoot in a low light condition and you find, let's say, your favorite spot or your favorite illumination is at 6 rather than to turn it off, dialing it all the way to 0, you can just go either right at 6, go below, or go up. Each like kind of half hash mark there is in the off position, and you just push it in. So then if I get ready to shoot, I'm not wasting my battery, but I just simply pop it out, pop it up to 6, boom, ready to go with the reticle illumination. And I'm going to try to look through the scope here in a minute for that. So let me turn it back off. Same thing here too. This has a these are, like I said, the LTEC turrets. They lock. So in order to adjust, you just pull up, and you hear it and engage, and you could hear it. It's got a nice positive click, and then that is, it's kind of hard to see through this. That looks like my 0. Go back and fix it. So what's really cool about this is that it has for the windage and of course elevation. They're here respectively, of course, windage, elevation. This top piece right here comes off, and I'm going to try to get a little bit better angle on this so we can see it, because this is kind of how you set your 0. Whoops. Camera failure here. Should have gone to film school. Okay, come on, camera. Every time you try to do something on camera, it never works as if it's supposed, the way it's supposed to. So we'll kind of zoom in here. You guys can see it says up, and it's got these little hash marks. I'm gonna have to take this off of the tripod here. Sorry guys. Okay. So now, as you can kind of see, let me fix the zoom here. There's a little, and I've already kind of messed it up. There's a little like a flathead part in here, and there's 3 little set screws that are on here. They're kind of hard to see. There's one right there. If I can get the zoom to catch. Come on, see it right, let's see, right here. It's just right in there. There's 3 of them. And what you do is you take a tool that comes with it and pull the screws out, and when you're zeroing your rifle, this is what you set. Okay, so it's the same thing. It looks the exact same over here for the windage. It'll just say right or left, I forget which, but it tells you which way to go. And so what that allows you to do is whenever you're dialing in and zeroing your scope, you have your scope zeroed with these, they're kind of like internal turrets, for lack of a better term. So you get that set to your 0, set this here at your 0 stop. Let's say if you zeroed it at 100 yards, now you want to go out and shoot at 500 yards rather than having to re-zero your rifle. If you come back and shoot at 100 yards, once you dial up and dial left and right over here, you can just put it back on your 0 stop. Let's see what this kind of looks like over here. Come on. There we go. And the 0 is right below. And you can kind of see that little hole I was talking about right here on top. It's the exact same, and they both work the exact same way. So this is a really, really cool scope. It's got some really nice features, and it's really accurate too with this particular rifle. As I mentioned in the beginning, I am not a long-range shooter by any means, especially, as I said, shooting with the scope. I was in the Army. That's been some time, but we used iron sights, and we were qualifying with, I believe they were 300-meter targets. They were pop-up targets, and I did pretty well. I hit 39 out of 40 targets, so I'm no stranger to shooting, decent distances with rifles. It's just like I said, it's different when you're shooting through a scope. If you don't have your eye relief set, if you don't have the scope leveled, and then level to the rifle, you're gonna have some problems. And then too, the most simplistic part of that is if you don't understand what the hell the scope will do. Like say for example, if you don't know about the parallax feature over here, it may look fuzzy to you. So just understanding what the scope will do and what it won't do, and then too understanding how to make corrections whenever you're off a little bit, to dial your scope in properly. So I'm going to go ahead and pause real quick and see if I can't get behind the scope and kind of show you guys what it looks like. Alright guys, I think this is about the best I'm going to be able to do with this camera, but this looks pretty good. You can see the reticle here pretty clearly, and then if I reach over here and turn on the reticle illuminator, see it pops up and it'll go through. See how each click in between it goes off. So that's really cool, and you can see too that the sub tensions light up as well. Super cool scope. It's got a nice clear reticle. Really high-end glass. I believe this is the highest end scope that Vortex makes. What also really makes this scope really great is their VIP warranty. I could drop this whole setup on the floor, crack the scope, I send it into Vortex, they either fix it or send me out a brand new one. No questions asked, and that's the kind of warranty you want to have. If you look up the reviews on this scope, it ranks pretty high amongst long-range precision shooters for its durability, its quality, the fact that it's waterproof, fog-proof, shock-proof. I mean, this thing is a tank. It's milled from a single piece of aircraft-grade aluminum. A really high-quality product. So, just wanted to kind of show you guys what the reticle actually looks like. I'm not going to mess with the dials or anything too much, but what I can do is adjust the zoom. Turn it on. That's about 10, and you see it. Let me see what we can get to here. Let me go. That's all the way. That's all the way up. And again, you can see those nice subtensions. There we go. Put that on for low light situations. I mean, it lights up very nicely. In fact, I'm going to try to cut the lights off real quick and just see how this looks in the dark. Well, I mean, it picks up the reticle nicely. There we go. Damn thing finally got nice and clear where it'll show up. So I have it completely dark in here, and I'm going to try to find that reticle subtension. There we go. Turn it off, on. I mean, it picks it up really nicely. So yeah, I mean, there's like virtually no light in here, with the exception of a couple of my electronics, and then this just a light or two from the camera. So, but it's still got a very nice reticle on it. So, last thing I wanted to, actually two things I want to show you guys. One, I want to take off this sunshade here. It just screws off, and it's got the threads here, so it goes inside of this. So, and then to put it back on, you just simply get it in there, line it up. Alrighty, tighty, lefty, loosey. Okay, there we go. And I think it looks kind of boss with the sunshade on, but I mean, I was shooting outdoors, and it really does help. Keep that sun from getting too much in the way. So let me move this real quick, and I'm going to show you guys the last quick thing. Alright guys, last but not least, I wanted to show you what this rifle is capable of. This is a target that I was shooting at Saturday, so yesterday. Like I said before, I'm new to shooting with scopes. So you know, it was a bit of adjustment for me, but I think all in all it turned out pretty well. So, little funny story. I was at my local gun range, and they have a rifle range indoors, and they also have some outdoor and pistol ranges as well. And the indoor goes out to 100 yards on the rifle range. Well, it was only myself and one other person on the range at the time, and what ended up happening was we were both kind of doing some cross shooting at each other's targets. This one here was kind of a stray, and there's a few bullets that I don't have marked. I only fired 15 rounds, okay, and so let's start here with the first one. This one here was the very first one I shot at this little square here. So I fired 5 shots at this one here. So this one was not one of my shots. My other 2 rounds, I shot the guy next to me's target. The lanes weren't marked, and so I wasn't really paying attention. And when you kind of get out at a distance, even 100 yards, if you're not paying attention, it's real easy to confuse the targets. And we both had up the exact same target. So anyway, it was kind of funny. We both had a good laugh, but he was hitting mine and I was hitting his. But the indoor range had a camera, and I was able to kind of see where my shots were going, and I'd see my target move when I wasn't shooting, and so we had a big laugh about it. But anyway, whoops, this camera does not like me tonight. So, okay, so as we can see here, these 2 rounds are touching. This one here is not, but this is still from the center to the center. This is less than 1 MOA, which is, 1 MOA at 100 yards is pretty damn good. That's what you want to see. So I was figuring out how to do the adjustments when I fired at this next group. As you can see, there's a bunch of rounds that I don't have marked, and again, those were from my buddy. So this was my next 5-shot group. And again, from the furthest to the furthest, this is still less than 1 MOA. So I made a little bit of adjustment. I was coming in kind of high, and so I just kind of dialed it down. I didn't really move the windage too much on this one, but as you can see on this last one here, let me zoom out my camera. Again, I got some exogenous rounds. Well, I guess technically they're all exogenous, but they weren't from my weapon. So as you can see here, most of these are touching, or just pretty damn close to it. Whoops. So and these are just about right on the money. Yes, I could tighten it up a little bit, but being, like I said, being new to scope shooting, I was pretty proud of myself with this. And these were not hand loaded. These were Federal whitetail, I believe, 143 grain, I believe. I'll double check and make a note in the comment section. But as you can see, this rifle with this scope is pretty darn accurate. 100 yards to some people might be like, I could do that in my sleep. But like I said, for me, being new to shooting with a scope, and then again too, when I was in the Army, that was 20 years ago. So I hadn't really, I've shot rifles, but not to any considerable distance. I mostly just shoot pistols and that kind of thing. You guys have seen some of my other reviews, but anyways, I could not be more pleased with this. I'm going to try to take it out back to the range here in another couple days. I'm going to try to tighten this up just a little bit, and I'll keep you guys abreast of the progress. Like I said, I'm going to also make some changes to the rifle, as I go along, change out a few things, and eventually, like I said, I want to get out to 1,000 yards or so, but I'm gonna kind of baby step it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I apologize for all the camera mishaps, but hope you guys enjoyed it, learned something. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Until next time, Texas Triple Tapper, out.